Hello, welcome back to another exciting week of Blades in the Dark. So, last week our gang braved the odds and they took on a greater ghost, which they captured in a bottle. It was the leader of the Crows gang, a guy named Rorik, and they delivered it to the Dimmer sisters, a move which I'm sure will have no repercussions in the bigger city of Blades in the Dark, of Duskfall. So, this week we are going to start with a bit of downtime, which is probably one of the most important parts of the game, despite the heists being the high intensity and enjoyable, we're all going to die parts. The downtime is where you really get to feel out who your characters are and live out their lives and do things like long-term projects. Now, in downtime, everyone has two actions they can do by default. You can increase the number of actions you do by spending some coin. So one coin gives you an additional downtime action. There are some things you might want to do. For example, Jackdaw, I think, currently has about 8 stress, 9 stress, and already has a single trauma. So for him to push it any further and go into the next heist like that, he won't be much good to anyone. So he will probably need to do something called indulging his vice. Now, indulging vice in Duskfall is really important. It's basically a way to de-stress. It is not without problem, because everything in Duskfall has some sort of cost. So we might start with that if you don't mind, Aaron. Is that one of the actions you might be taking?
Oh, definitely, definitely. So you'd see a jackdaw, but not quite looking exactly like his scoundrel self. He's dropped down into a worker's shirt, and he's got a scarf around his neck, and he's not wearing his signature bowler or his glasses, and he's making his way into the night market and going actually into the undermarket, into a sunken grotto where there's a barge down there, a sunken barge that's owned by Titier, the hooded proprietor, and they offer this Jacquard Dowd the opportunity to slip through the ghost veil and challenge himself. And that's what his vice is all about. Constantly challenging himself physically and mentally. So he goes into the ghost field, into the past of Duskfall, and he tries to survive, and he searches for ghost locks to crack, to use his skills against. So I think we see him slipping through the mirror into the ghost field, and he's in this old upside down cathedral to the Burning King, and he's making his way through the chimney down to the locked crematorium, and he's working on the ghost lock to the crematorium, and that's how he indulges his vice. That's just how he finds his center again, by pushing himself like this. So I am going to indulge my vice with my first downtime activity, and get a 3.
Great. So what that means is he reduces his stress by 3. Now, for Aaron with 8 stress, that's probably not enough.
No. So he's exactly. So I'm going to use my second downtime action to do the same thing. So he's tinkering with this lock, and he gets through it, and he gets into this crematorium, but he doesn't really feel any better. So he's like, "Damn it! I gotta find something a little bit more challenging here." And so he flees out of the cathedral, and he knows that there is a chimney that you could climb out of the ghost field, climb out of Duskfall's past or fractured ghost realm, and back into the real world that comes up in the basement of the basilica of the church. And so he's going to try to use that, but it's trapped. So he's trying to avoid the traps that the spirit wardens have placed, as he makes his way up through and into the basement of the basilica. So he's going to indulge his vice one last time. Let's see if we can overindulge here. 5. 1, 2. Or take the lower one, right?
So that leaves you
okay, 5.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So you clear out your stress.
Oh, so I clear my. So he gets out and he feels like, oh, hey, I got one up on the spirit wardens in the church. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ready. I'm gonna do some heisting now, yeah. And then he
Excellent.
pulls his glasses back out, puts them back on, and slips into the city.
It's a real workaholic that his vice is just go do more intense things. Excellent. So unfortunately for Aaron, that was his 2 downtime activities. Now he can't spend coin, and we did earn a considerable amount of coin in the last session. He can't spend coin to increase that, but we'll come back to him. Who would like to engage in their own downtime activity? So what I recommend is you have a look at your character sheet, see how much stress you're currently working with. So for example, Murmur here has 0 stress.
0 stress.
Wow, didn't push
I got
yourself.
very. I don't think. Or do you, when you push yourself, do you automatically get stress?
Yes, you take 2 stress when you push yourself. But
I think I might have then. I probably have 2 stress then.
Okay,
I think
perfect.
I did at least once.
Now, the trouble with 2 stress is that when indulging your vice, you roll a 6-sided dice, and you're looking to hit a 2 to clear out your stress. If you hit anything above a 2, you would overindulge. Overindulging has its own problems, because overindulging essentially means your character does one of a list of things, none of which are good. You either attract attention to the gang by bragging, you go missing for a couple of weeks, you get tapped out where your vice proprietor says, no, can't come here anymore. So 2 stress, not very high, not a bad thing to go into. So you have some other options of things to do in your downtime. You can begin a long-term project, which may be something like learning a ritual, or maybe like trying to figure out something about your life. And you can reduce the gang's heat. We may have taken a bit of heat in the last session, so it's something to look at. You can train in a skill, or you can go out essentially shopping and acquire an asset for yourself. So if we have a quick look at GEIST, I don't know, did we put in? Yeah, we only have 2 heat. It was quite a contained activity, so it's not something you have to do. So you really can put some time into training or acquiring an asset, or if there's some other project you're thinking of that Murmur would like to do, we can get into that.
I would say definitely go into some training, and for my first one, and the second one I'll probably start the long-term project.
Brilliant.
And so it says, well, actually, so Chris with good old Murmur, we would see them probably in like some dungy basement without their mask on, without their cloak on, just kind of in some, just basically like just in the regular garments, but they'd be kind of like doing some practice swings with a sword that like has like a gem on like the hilt of it, the very bottom, because of course Chris has all the gems. And essentially they're trying to remember and polish their training from back home.
Perfect.
So they're basically just trying to like
I imagine
learn
that
it
Chris
and get better.
I imagine that Chris at one time had a sword instructor. Someone who
yeah.
taught them like what karate kids would call katas or dans, where they do the dance moves in a particular way. So Chris is trying to remember a particular sequence of attacks. Perfect. So what you could do is that will take one of your downtime actions. And if you look at your character sheet, skirmish, that sounds like, is under prowess. So you just tick one little box in prowess. And when you've filled out a box, a full line of boxes, then you can put a dot into any of those skills, up to 3 points.
I like it.
Now,
since prowess is actually our crew's training specialty, you actually get 2 ticks for training prowess.
Excellent, very good. I had so that's fantastic. I was just about to ask Aaron what our crew speciality was.
Lucky me.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we'll hop over to Ben while you think about your second downtime action. And what is Slab up to? I am dying to know what Slab gets up to in their time off.
Well, I've only got 3 stress, so I'm reluctant to indulge my vice at this stage. So I think I definitely want to train.
Excellent. And what are you training in?
And I think I'm going to train in prowess as well, because I'm thinking about pushing my prowl up a little bit.
Perfect. So how are you training your prowl, your stealth skills?
Well, I rather enjoyed breaking into the back of the newspaper offices, so I'm going to make that a little bit of a regular thing. It was really interesting. So, yeah, Slab is going to hang around the newspaper offices and just pop in, pop out, pop in, pop out. It doesn't really sneak all that well. So I'm working on Prowl as a kind of looks like it belongs there kind of thing. So he's just going to walk in, pick up a box, carry it around for a bit, put it down, walk off.
I love the idea of this giant bandaged behemoth being like, I'm inconspicuous. Excellent. Yeah, so you can 100%, you can tick 2 in prowess there. That's your first action. Have you anything you'd like to do for your second action?
Now, what are the other options you said?
Okay, so there's lots. You can acquire an asset. Now, it's interesting in Blades in the Dark because how the equipment works is you kind of have most things you need. But if you wanted something particular, let's say you wanted a new engine for your barge, or you wanted some sort of specialist equipment, a grenade launcher or something like that, you could go searching for that. So the first thing you need to do is you need to put out the word that you're looking for it or ask someone. What we do is we have a little clock that we fill in with your actions to get it. The other option is if you're injured, you could go and recover and go see a doctor. Now, if you're playing a hardcore version of the game, you first have to acquire a doctor as an asset, which is always really funny when people have like got a gut wound in the first session and they're limping around the city. Anyone know a physiker? I'm not a veterinarian.
That'll do.
The other thing you could do is reduce heat, where you go around and you do something which draws heat away from the gang. But like I said, 2 heat, not a massive concern. You could indulge your vice, or you could begin a long-term project. A long-term project is something that is particular to your character. For example, we have a character playing in another game who has forgotten who they are. They have amnesia. They don't remember anything before they came to Duskfall. And they've been all around the consulates. They've asked, because they know they're not from Duskfall. You know, they remember music from things, and so they're just living out all these steps to find out who they are. And it's up to you what Slab might do as a long-term project.
I think I'm going to tie the long-term project into my vice, actually. Now, my vice is caring for orphans on the streets, Taikarosi orphans on the streets of Duskfall. So alongside that, I think I'm going to start training them up a little bit as spies and informants. So I want that to be long-term project.
Perfect. Okay, so sounds like quite a complex project, because Ben, I know you've worked with children, you understand. Like, getting them to know letters is difficult, let alone to put it in a pocket. So what we'll do is we'll only do a 6 counter clock for this, but it's only the first step of the project.
Yep.
So the first step of the project is getting them to run messages.
Yep.
Discreetly, and not anytime the blue coat goes, hey, where are you going? A man told me to say that we're stealing something. So what we'll do is we'll put a 6 counter clock on your character sheet there, clock 6, and we'll name it Orphan Message Relay. There you go. And what you do now is you make a roll, fortune roll, or depending on what skill you're using to do this. Let's say, for example, Slab is swaying children, trying to convince them that they want to do this. Then you roll a sway, or consorting with children, saying, like, you know, keep saying to them, consorting with these toffs of the city, these little
I think it'll have to be consort, because that's the only one of those that I have a dot in.
Perfect. And so you negotiate with the kids, and you're kind of like, hey, here's a little sub, and, you know, we make a bit of coin. You roll that out, and depending on the result, we fill in that clock.
Okie dokie. Right, so position?
Position is controlled. You know, no one listens to the orphans anyway.
Nope. Effect standard?
Effect is standard, yeah.
No bonus dice. Away we go. Well, look at that.
So we tick a single tick on the clock.
Splendid.
So you've just sowed the seeds that this big bandaged behemoth is potentially looking for. This kid said he keeps giving food to. He's like, well, if you want ice cream, which is also made out of mushrooms and eels, if you want ice cream, well, you could pop down to our warehouse and you could run a couple of messages for me. Excellent. And we're back to Tyler. What is Murmur doing for their final downtime action?
Murmur is going to be starting also a long-term project
Perfect.
that is actually also going to be connected to their vice, their faith from where they're back home, actually connected to their lovely demon family, and
Excellent.
keeping up with what they are trying to push. So because of that, I'd say that Murmur would be going through a bunch of old dusty tombs that they brought with them from home, trying to find out exactly how one is able to kind of force a possession, essentially, is what they're trying to find out. Is their family is well known at being able to do that, but they're one of the family members that they haven't figured it out. The only thing they figured out is how to control ghosts, but not so much anything else. And so they're trying to study. They're like, get it.
So if you have a look on your character sheet now, if you scroll down between your strange friends and your planning and load, you have a little clock there that says faith possession.
Yeah.
You can see it. Yeah, look, masterful DMing tonight. And what you do is you roll. That sounds like you are trying to attune or study, maybe. If you're attuning to, trying to practice it, that would be attune. If you're reading all these dusty tones, that would be study.
I'd say it'd probably be study, yeah, because they're currently trying to look through their books and stuff like that. And what position would this be? Is it also
this is a controlled position. If you were tuning, it would be risky, but this is controlled, and the effect is standard. I don't know how this could go badly for you reading a book, unless obviously
it is a demon book.
This is true. I recently cycled past a man who was sitting on a corner reading a book that was black cover and just said Sartre. And as I went past, he went, "Of course!" I was like, "Wow, I'm really not reading to the extent that I could be reading a book." Yes. So roll us a study roll there.
Perfect. And if it's for bonus dice, if it's connected to heritage background and that stuff, is that how you get bonus die?
No, you can push yourself for a bonus dice, which would take 2 stress, because you'd stay up all night reading all of the books.
Who would do a thing like that?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that just yet. They're just checking out the book. They're just looking through it, carefully turning pages because they know what could happen. And I got 5.
Excellent. So
it's not Wolfrup.
We tick 2 ticks into your sheet. 4, 5 tick 2 ticks. A 1, 2, 3 tick a single tick, and a 6 ticks 3. So we go through it like that. Now, there's one other thing we have to do in our downtime, and we tend to do it during the payoff and heat section, which is
Hey Josh, I am going to spend 1 coin to do 1 more.
Excellent. Action. Okay, let's do that then before we go into this. Yeah, what's your action there?
So he gets out and he's like, I sprained my arm last time. That wasn't good. So he goes to Ash and he works with Ash on his physical conditioning. I mean, literally just, the horrible Marine Corps boot camp kind of montage. And so I'm training. And I'm training against my playbook, which will actually fill up my playbook because I only need 1 tick in that. And I'm going to take the veteran advance, tough as nails, out of the Hound playbook.
Excellent. So there's some serious top tier Blades in the Dark playing here. And Aaron has maxed out his playbook advancement, which means he can take some upgrades to his character. But the thing is, you always have the option to take upgrades from other playbooks. It's called a veteran advancement. So he's read through the book, he has looked at the Hound sheet, and he's chosen the playbook. Say once again, please, Aaron.
Tough as nails. So basically, when I take harm, it's one less effect, because Jackdaw is likely to get beat up a lot because he's not real bright, and so this will allow me to stay more effective throughout the heist, even if I get seriously busted up.
It's a brilliant skill because it means something that would have killed you gravely wounds you, which if you resist on top of that, you can knock down to just a bad scrape. So it's really like if you're attached to a character that does a lot of skirmishing, it's an excellent one to have. Perfect. I love that. Okay, so our next step is what's called entanglements. Entanglements are there's always a cost for doing business. You know, they say crime doesn't pay. Well, it turns out it does, but it's got a higher casualty rate. So depending on how much heat you've generated from a score, your entanglements get worse. Because you imagine if the entire city is looking for you, your entanglements suck. And we roll these. Now you can play it out many different ways. Sometimes there's an organic thing that might work. Sometimes we roll them in secret, which I think we will do in the future, but just so people learn how these work, we'll do our first entanglement roll out in the open. So Ben, would you please roll for me a single d6? And for those of you reading at home, we're on page 150 of the Blazing Dark.
So is that a roll fortune?
Yep. A fortune roll, yeah, absolutely.
Yep, number of dice.
Just one.
Any notes? No.
Not quite yet.
Look at
Excellent.
that. What a solid one I got there.
We have currently 2 heat, which is very little. And on a score of 0 heat to 3 heat, a 1 means gang trouble or the usual suspects. So if we look at the book, gang trouble, it's kind of the least interesting of them, I think. But the usual suspect is that the Bluecoats grab someone in the periphery of your crew. So not necessarily one of your players, maybe someone who deals vice. The person that we think is most likely to be taken by the Bluecoats, and we make a fortune roll to find out how they resist questioning. So Bluecoats have realised that the Dimmer sisters are up to something. They've a lot of reports of people waking up in weird parts of town, not remembering how they got there. You know, all of a sudden being like, I was harvesting eels, and next thing I knew, I was sitting on a street corner, and I ain't done nothing to deserve that. And it seems like this is happening more and more. So they're going knocking around doors, and they're like, wrapping up people to see what, and they know it's the Dimmer sisters. It's always the Dimmer sisters, but they want to know who they're talking to this time, because when the Dimmer sisters talk to people, there's trouble. Also, the other night in Crowsfoot, there was a shootout and a melee, so they are going to have to kick some teeth in to at least show that they're working and they're doing their job. So who do we think, out of all of either player characters that are here or not here tonight, or our vice purveyors or our friends, who do we think the Bluecoats might tap into? Has anyone got a friend who potentially deals with the occult?
Yes.
Excellent.
Who
is it, remember?
I have Flint. They are a spirit trafficker. They are my friend.
Excellent. So we cut across the city to Flint is sitting in his office, and it's an unusual office, in that it is designed to look innocuous. But anyone knowing what they're looking at knows that this guy gets spirits out past the ghost field or back in. And this is Flint's business, because not everyone wants their loved ones' ghosts destroyed. Some want them to be freed, or in other cases, some deliberately want them ghosts brought into the city. And he's sitting in an office with maps, and it says Flint Chartering outside. And one of our Bluecoats come in. Let me see. We'll go with. There's a really fun thing in the back of the Blaze in the Dark book, where they just give you a load of names and descriptions of people that you can just make up straight away. So we will say this is Constable Attic. The Attic comes in, he's like, "Oh, hi, Flint. Been up to some trouble lately?" And Flint's, "Oh no, I've been drawing maps." And he pulls out a map. "Look at this one. It's Crowsfoot. I've put where all the gangs control. This might be of some interest to you, officer." And immediately Flint's grabbed by the wrist, and he's told, "Right, Flint, I need answers, because last night Crowsfoot was on fire. Yeah, you saw that, yeah? I want to know what that's about. I know the Dimmer sisters are involved." So, Christ, seeing as this is your buddy, could you please make me a fortune roll? Let me see how well they resist this.
Got it. Just one die?
Just one die.
Boom. 2.
Ooh, let me just quickly get to our entanglements. There we are. And go to a 1, 2, 3. We gain 2 heat. So Flint doesn't exactly sell you out, but yeah. He's like, oh well, there might be a new outfit in town that's worth looking at. I heard an actor came in from Scotland. There's bloody Scotlanders at it again. They're always at it. I'd look out for them. And Innocent Garrett is the man to shake down. I always shake down Innocent Garrett as a point of principle, sir. And so our gang has now moved up 2 heat, so we have 4 heat. And as you can see, this can quickly become a compound problem. And the next time you deal with Flint, you may need to kind of have a chat about his loose lips. And maybe it's a selling point for you. So where are we all? Once we finish our downtime, we're in our lair, which for the viewers at home is, of course, our mobile barge, right?
Yep.
Do we have a name for the barge?
I don't think we do.
No,
That is,
we don't.
well, maybe that's one for the Twitch chat to decide.
Do we really trust them? Do we really want to be piloting around Bargy McBarge face?
Well, yeah. I recently kayaked past a boat called the HMS Piss and Vinegar. That's a great name for a boat. Yes, so I don't know. We'll leave it up to them, but we will reserve the right to pull it. In fact, anyone watching it, because I know there were some comments on the YouTube videos, anyone watching at home, you can type it in the comments, and we'll definitely put a link for consideration. So we're on our mobile barge, the to be named, and there's a man hanging around the docks. He looks like quite an academic sort, except he has a set of glasses on, and one of the lenses is cracked. And he's kind of pacing, and he's looking at the different barges. He knows you guys are around here somewhere, but he's not quite sure which barge he should be looking for.
Jackdaw slide up behind him, quiet-like, and pick his pocket. See if I can get it, pull his ID.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, that sounds like you need to roll me something.
It does. How about some finesse?
Exactly what I was looking for. Well done.
And he is... Go ahead.
It's only risky. This guy's quite distracted.
He's actually going to push himself because he wants to pull everything in this guy's pocket.
Okay.
I'm going to push it to desperate so I can get great effect.
Yep, sounds great.
Because that's Jackdaw. He's that
Did we
guy.
get 2 coin each, or was that 2 coin for the whole gang?
Each.
2 coin each, yeah. So if
Yeah.
you want to do some more downtime actions before the next week, we can. Yeah. So
5.
yes, you pull the contents of this guy's pockets, and the one thing you don't anticipate is how much crap he has in his pockets. There is so many skits of paper and like unintelligible drawings with circles written around things, and it's got like academic shorthand, like a doctor's handwriting on a lot of them. But the main thing you notice is that a lot of these are like little propaganda posters, and they all refer to the Watcher. The Watcher is watching. The Watcher is here. The moon beckons. All hail the Watcher. But the guy does kind of notice you. He doesn't notice what you've done, but he's like, "Oh, hello. Could you direct me to the GEIST company?"
Well, my friend, this might be your lucky day. By the way, all of this shit just happened to fall right out of your pockets into my hands. Here you go.
Oh,
Yeah, my friend.
you're very kind. You're very kind. Well, you hang on to that one, and it's like a recruitment leaflet, and it's like, have you noticed the moon is getting bigger? It comes closer. The moon will soon reach us.
I have noticed that the moon is quite big at night. You're not wrong. But if you're looking for Geist, well, you found 1/5 the Geist right here in me. If you'd like to have a discussion with Geist in total, so to speak, we'll run that barge.
Perfect. I hope you don't mind. I've brought backup. And out of an alleyway, this deranged-looking sailor stands and goes, "It's a good thing you gave those back, because I was going to fucking kill you."
Right there. Hey, I respect that. That's who wouldn't try to kill me under the circumstances?
Please excuse Ishmael. He's had an accident.
Oh, I can see that he's had an accident.
And Ishmael is carrying a harpoon gun that is normally mounted on a ship, but he's carrying it, like dragging it along with him. This one is it? We headed for this one. And he kind of shows himself up in the barge. He goes, "Bloody lovely." And she floats. "That's bloody lovely. Oh, look at that. Huh? And the rope's all tied away. Who drives the barge here?"
Hello.
Well, it wouldn't be Jesus Christ, but our relevant deity.
I've got a big stick to push the barge.
I imagine you need quite a pole for barge size.
Yes.
Yeah, normally
It's got an
I
engine.
do the driving.
it's got an engine. So Ishmael is engaged with Slab, and he's very intense about how well you stowed the ropes. He's like, you don't see that anymore. People don't stow ropes. There's no respect for fucking ropes in this town. You walk down the docks, you're tripping over ropes, lousy ropes. And Yakov is like, please excuse this man. And he's very into nautical themes. Who am I addressing? Who is the leader of this outfit?
Oh, that's
We all look
Slab
at each
over
other.
there. Yeah, Slab is mostly the leader.
Hello.
Yeah, but you can call me Jackdaw, and that fellow over there, that's Murmur.
Oh, I see you're a fellow
Hello.
Whisper. Do you have many problems wearing the mask around town? I have to keep mine stowed.
Not when I have this lovely hood. It covers everything, so no one can see. Only myself.
I suppose the Takarosi can get away with that on account of you being strangers in that city. Right, gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, I
Sometimes he
require-
bangs into things.
it happens. Ishmael does that too, but I think he does it for fun. So yes, I require your services. I understand you're in logistics.
I've got a boat.
That's one word for it.
Yes, and logistics of the occult nature.
We do find ourselves in some very odd situations from time to time, my friend.
Fantastic.
Boat's
My
not
name is Yakov.
haunted.
I represent the people of the Watcher. We have to be very careful how we denote ourselves. That's been referred to as a cult, which is a truly dreadful and brandishing on our behalf. We are academics and interested parties trying to understand the nature of the moons getting closer.
Well, that sounds very interesting and all, but you still have not come across with how that particular focus of your study is going to put coin in our pockets.
Oh, coin is not a problem, sir. We are well furnished, and we could repay you handsomely. We have a simple task, really. We need a cargo moved out of Duskfall. From here into a location in Deathlands, which I will disclose once it comes closer to the time.
Oh,
And is
yeah.
this target on the coast, or are we going to have to take it inland into the Deathlands?
Oh, well, I suggest you head by the coast, but you will need to loaf inland somewhat. You will be bringing a colleague of mine. Colleague is a word I use lightly. I suppose a passenger, and you will be bringing them to meet their people. From there, it will all be handled.
Well, that does sound like something we could definitely take care of for you, but, what type of what are you going to pay us there?
I suppose that's up for negotiation. What is your standard passenger fare to the Deathlands?
Well, our standard passenger fare to the Deathlands, you understand, because, there's some risk there going outside of the lightning barrier and all that. I think typically, what do you say, Slab? Murmur, 8 coin?
Ooh, little bit steep. 8 coin for a single passenger. No, I don't think we could do 8 coin, but I could do 6.
How about this? How about this? 5 coin. 5 coin, and you provide us the cart and goats to do the inland transport, so we don't have to acquire them ourselves before we leave.
Yes, I think we could rather do that. We do have a cart, and we do have some goats. Yeah, that sounds perfect. Will we be getting them back?
Well, that all depends on the Deathlands. I mean, my intent is to bring them back. I'm not one to go after goats, but if the Deathlands swallow them up, it's a potential loss for you.
Understood. Yes. No, I think that is fair. Ishmael, what do you think? Please, just a great deal. That's 5 coin to bring someone in the death. I wouldn't go in there for 5 coin. Yes. Well, then, it's agreed, sir. And we shall drop the passenger down in the next 2 days. We are currently waiting for something to kind of cool down a little bit before we get into it. And then, over to you.
Well, that sounds fantastic. So, the people of the Watcher and you, Mr. Yakov, are their leader? Is that so? I mean, if something goes awry, how do we find you?
We're in the lighthouse in 6 Towers. It's not hard to find. In fact, you're all invited, always. Come on in.
Well, thank you there, Mr. Yakov. We're looking forward to transporting your cargo today and all your future needs, that is, before the moon crashes into the Duskfall.
Yes, one quick question. Do any of you speak Severosi?
Well, I gotta say, Severosi is not a language that I have personally picked up. Murmur? Slab?
I only just speak Duskfall.
Well, I don't think it'd be a problem. No, I don't. It will make communication with the passenger a bit difficult, but I'll be honest, none of us speak Severosi either. So, right. Absolutely a pleasure, gentlemen. Hang on to the leaflets. In fact, there's one for everyone. And Ishmael, if you would be so kind as to stop pointing the harpoon gun at these kind gentlemen, we can make our departure.
Well, looks like we're going to be in the coin again, my fellow friends. And just a quick trip up into the Deathlands. How nice is that? I've never been outside of the Lightning Bay myself. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
First for me as well.
Excellent. A crew of newbies into the Deathlands. So excited, so young, so nubile. Excellent. So we begin our heist. So before we get to our stage where we look at our point of our beginning point, I've forgotten the word for it, we need to either gather information or would anyone like to finish some downtime actions? Because you all have 2 coin, you can spend some more coin on some downtime actions.
Yes.
Okay. What would Murmur like to do?
Am I able to spend both, like, 2 coins and do the training twice?
Yep, for sure.
I would love to do that. So since we're going to this terrifying place, gotta be good. Murmur's making sure they're honing their edge properly. So if I spend the 2 coins, that means I can put prowess up all the way because we have the special crew thing, and that means I get another tick in skirmish.
Yeah, if you want, up to 3 ticks is the maximum you can go at the moment.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
I am
That's
now
3 dice in skirmish.
Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah, we have a brawler who's also a whisper. Amazing. Ben, is Slab doing anything before we depart? Before we go to gather information?
Yes, I think I want to spend my 2 coin and put it into my insight.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's you only get a single tick for each, so that'd be 2 ticks.
Yes.
Fantastic. What are you doing to gain insight? Reading newspapers, that kind of thing, and
Absolutely, yeah. Reading anything I can get my hands on.
right. So that's where the coin goes. You're buying books and that kind of thing. Yeah, excellent.
Buying books, newspapers, hiding them in the barge.
Perfect. Aaron, you have a single coin left. Are you going to hang on to it, or do you think you'll spend it?
I'm sorry, I was double checking it. So it's actually you can only train a given XP track once per downtime.
Okay, no worries. I will pull
I
that
thought
back.
I thought there was something a little off about that.
Does that mean I can only get one Pippin insight?
One Pippin insight and one. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, excellent. So we could do it. We could do it that way. So that gives you. You've already trained prowess, right? So you could train in each other field one tick if you wanted.
I'll use one coin to get a tick in resolve is what I'm trying to do. So it would kind of be the tuning factors. They've practiced their blade, they've read some books, and now they're trying to practice the art.
Full on montage.
So yeah. Just trying to I don't know, maybe there's does they have an animal in a cage maybe, and they're just trying to test their soul stuff on them.
Yeah. Let's just try to possess a chicken. I love it.
Yes. And I'll just do the one coin in that case and put one tick into the resolve track.
Perfect. And you don't need to spend all your coin. You can hang on to it for the next session if you want.
Jackdaw's just going to hold on to his one coin.
It's always handy to have a bit of coin. And then, Ben, you're doing one tick into...
One in insight and one in resolve, if I'm allowed to. Or is that two actions?
Nope, that's two actions.
2 coins,
so 2 coins, yeah. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so we get to our gather information stage. Now is a great time to look at your contacts, look at the people that you're friendly with, look at the people the gang are friendly with, and see is there anyone potentially who could help you gain information. None of you've been to the Deathlands. You only know the things you've heard about the Deathlands. And all you've heard about the Deathlands are bad.
My shrewd friend, Salia, is an information broker.
Okay, and so you go to talk to Salia.
Yes, and I wish to trade some information on this Watcher group, I think.
Interesting. Okay, so you come into Salia's workshop. She's, oh, Slab, you're always good for a story. Come on in.
Thank you so much. Do you have any tea?
Oh, yeah, Slab. I've got powdered mushroom, and I've got lion's mane.
I think the mushroom sounds splendid. Thank you.
No, I mean, technically it's soup, but it's
quite.
So she makes you up some... this is one of the few people you let your guard down with, right?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, arguably, one could refer to it as a tisane, depending entirely on the infusion technique.
Yeah, I suppose they could, Slab, but I mean, people like that tend to be pricks. What have you brought me today?
Well, I've been doing a little digging around the old Watcher cult fellows. It seems like they're moving a little.
Yeah, they've been on the up and up lately.
Based out of the lighthouse, I hear.
Is that where they've got themselves all squirreled away?
Yes, they've got a little recruitment drive going on, and I'll pull the leaflet out that I was given. Seems like they're trying to bulk up their numbers and get people involved. I wonder what's going on behind the story with the moon is falling. Because presumably there's one or two at the top of the organisation that are driving the tale, and then the rest of them are probably gullible fools who are being played.
Sounds to me like your standard cult practice, so there's no shortage of them in the city. I do appreciate that, Slab. That's good information, where they are at least. Did you catch the name of any of their higher-ups, maybe?
Not the higher-ups. There was a chap by the name of Ishmael who'd been retained by someone carrying around a harpoon gun on the docks.
Right.
Seems a bit mad. Leviathan Hunter would be my guess.
Ishmael, that's an old family name. Oh, I know him. Yeah, once was a Leviathan Hunter. Their family came to Racket Rune. Is that what he's doing now? Oh, poor bloke.
He does seem to have fallen on hard times indeed, but he does still have a harpoon gun, which is probably quite dangerous.
It is nice to see people holding onto the family heirlooms.
Quite.
Now, Slab, I always understand there's a bit of quid pro quo. Why are you here today?
Well, see, I'm interested in the Deathlands, to be quite honest. We've been offered a little contract to pop out there. And of course, the pop out, pop in model that we've been suggested is going to be quite unrealistic. It's the Deathlands. I don't know a lot about what's out there, and I'm intrigued
what I'm
as to
gonna
exactly
do,
what's going on.
rather than roll a sway, because you're good friends with this person, I'm going to roll a fortune roll to see how much she knows. I did that last night as well. No, that was incorrect. There we go. Oh, yes, just quite a bit. I discovered in roll 20, if you put a space between the number and the d6, it's like roll 1 on a d6.
Ta-da!
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's like, well, I suppose the problem's going to run into Slab, or there's several. The first is getting past the lightning gate. You're either going to need to bribe someone or find a discreet location where you can get out through the lightning gate. They keep it tight, watching it for many reasons. The only place I can think of is outside of Ironhook, the prison. That's where the prisoners go out by barge. I imagine that they're accustomed to opening the gate there. Most other places, the gates stay closed. The other problem, Slab.
Prisoner transport.
Yeah, maybe. The other problem you're going to have is what's out there. A lot of people say it's ghosts, but it's not just ghosts. Ghosts we can handle here in Duskfall. Any Duskfaller knows how to deal with a ghost. But out there's other things. There's Hag Harvesters. There's Hollows. No one piloting them. They seem to know their way around. There's all sorts of things. There's those what are they called? Cold ladies. They've got the cold ladies out there. Basically, anything you see out there is dreadful, and you should avoid it.
That
However,
sounds quite unpleasant.
with the right equipment, there's a lot of money to be made. As Hag Harvesters, these weird tentacle creatures that wear a blanket, they harvest ghosts. They eat ghosts all day long, and they make an incredibly intense form of energy within them. I reckon, failing Leviathan blood, they're the alternative industry. And I won't just tell that to anyone, Slab.
That's an interesting hypothesis. Perhaps I'll see if Murmur can give it a test for you.
Yeah, of course they do tear people apart. They've been known to split open whole platoons of soldiers, but it's no worse than a bloody Leviathan, and it's closer to home.
You're not wrong. Well, I'll put some thought into that for you.
You've learned some really good information about your first problem is going to be getting out through the gate.
So I think Jackdaw, taking the information that Slab has gotten, goes to his contact, Petra, a city clerk.
Okay. What is Petra like, Jackdaw?
She and Jackdaw have had an on-again, off-again, casual, friendly relationship. She doesn't seem to be pushing for more. He doesn't seem to be pushing for more. They're on good relations right now. He slides her coin from time to time to help offset her miserable salary. So they're friends. They're definitely friends. They kind of grew up together in the city. She just went the legal route, and he went the less than legal route.
Negotiable legality. Excellent. So as you come into, are you visiting her at work or after hours?
No, after hours. We meet at a little pub close to where she works. Not too far in Barrowcleft, but not anywhere in the government buildings.
Okay, so you meet at the Triple Eel, which has a sign of 3 eels above it, and it's where the lower downs of the political system go to drink. It's still like affordable, but it's also not a dive bar where people get their teeth knocked out. So it's quite a classy establishment. Yeah, and you see Petra sitting at her normal spot, which is at the bar, and she's kind of bantering with the barman. He's like, "Oh well, I reckon I could drink 6 of them before I fell down." And she's like, "What are you talking about? You fell down after 4 the last time." He's like, "Well, that is fair, but I was already drunk." And then he sees it. He's like, "Oh, well, I'll leave it to it."
Well, hello there, Petra, my dear. How are you?
Oh, Jackdaw. I didn't realize you were coming. Sorry, I'm too ahead of you, Jackdaw. One for himself.
You are too kind, my dear. Listen, this isn't just a social call. I got a little piece of business that I'm putting together, and I thought to myself, who do I know who could perhaps give me a little edge up on this? And of course, you came to mind because of all my friends, you are my dearest, and if I'm going to put coin in anybody's hand, I want it to be your hand.
Oh, you really know how to treat a girl, Jackdaw. I was about to buy you a drink, and here you are offering me money. What does it need, Jackdaw?
Listen, you know how the prison barges down there in Ironhook work. I know there's a city contract for the barges that do all the transporting the men in and out of there. And let's just say, for instance, if I had a barge and I wanted to join a convoy of prison barges going out, what type of call sign or information would I have to have posted on the flags of the barge or whatever to allow me to just kind of slide out under the lightning barrier with the rest of them? That's what I'm looking for. Just a little info.
She kind of scowls a little bit and goes, Jackdaw, you're breaking someone out of prison.
No. We're leaving the city. We just need to do it kind of quiet because we got something to do outside of the city, and then we'll be back. I'd never break anybody out of Ironhook. People who go to Ironhook, well, that's a good opportunity for them to learn the prison lifestyle. I'm sure, they need their time there just like we need our time out here.
You're going to have to convince her of this because, if she gives you this call sign, you could use it to break someone out of prison.
It's true. That is true. So, what are you thinking? Consort or sway? They're both the same for me.
It's your call, really.
I'm gonna go with consort because we're friends.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And what position are we talking about?
It is risky because if you are old friends, but if something goes down, she probably will rat you out, Mm-hmm. But the effect is standard.
Let's go. Because Jackdaw, he's pushing hard. He's like, this information is going to be really good for me, and it could be really good for you too in the future. Not just now, but in the future, this could really, the contacts I'm making on this job could really help us out a lot. So I'm going to push it for desperate because I want great effect.
Yeah.
Now, can I get a bonus die for giving her a coin? Because I'm going to give her the coin regardless.
Yes, you can get a bonus die for giving her a coin because that is a proper bribe. Yeah, absolutely.
And what if I was looking at a devil's bargain, what would it look like?
Well, here's an excellent time that we float the idea of a devil's bargain to everyone at the table. What do we think is an appropriate payoff and an appropriate consequence? My devil's bargain is that the barman has overheard this, and he, like any decent barman at Duskfall, trades in information. So the next time you go to your contact, it will be more difficult to get information out of her because she knows her card is numbered.
How about somebody else finds out that we now have that code, and then the next time anybody wants someone broken out of Ironhook, they're going to come and put pressure on us to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
that's a pretty severe devil's bargain. A lot of people want people out of Ironhook.
I think I'm just going to go with the bonus die for the desperate action and the bonus die for the coin, and we'll see how it goes. Because those devil's bargains both terrify me.
they have long-lasting consequences. Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. 5.
Yeah. So it's much later in the evening, and the two of you are legless drunk. And you're like, no, you used to piss your pants. No, I pissed your pants. That kind of, and because you guys grew up together as kids and stuff successful. And she turns to you and she's like, Jack, I can give you those codes. If you meet me at work tomorrow, I'll give you a package. You have to fly the right colors. And if you're at the end of the convoy, they'll assume, Jack, here's a clever way, that you're carrying goods and not prisoners. The only thing you will need to get is hats. Because when they're looking down from the barge, they want to see that you're wearing the appropriate hats.
That's right. I will see you in the morning. I'm probably just going to sleep here in the bar myself tonight because you can still drink me under the table. And at that point, he passes out.
And she goes, but sure, and then passes out. Excellent. Yeah, perfect. So that's 2 key points of information. Murmur, is there anything you can think to do? Tyler, is there anything Murmur can think to do to gather information on this heist before we begin? To turn the odds in our favor.
Is the only option to go towards the strange friends thing, or is there other?
Oh, absolutely. If you want to stalk out the location, if you want to commune with ghosts, if you want to just open up a portal to hell and be like, well, we could just go through that. It's entirely up to you. It's.
You're probably the best equipped person to consider how the lightning barrier works.
That's true.
Or even to discover what's out there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Would that be like? Would I have to do like studying sort of deal, or
There's
just the fact
ways.
of like, oh, I've been out there?
Like you could go research it, and you can find out what people have written. Iron Hook Prison has like a thing where they reduce prisoners' sentences if they agree to go scavenge in the death notes, because it's not a guaranteed death sentence, but it's very dangerous out there because the things they can bring back are very valuable. So there is like people go out there all the time, and the trains run through the Deathlands. Albeit they're equipped for it, and there are people like railjacks who build and maintain the train lines out in the Deathlands. So there are many people who are out there. It's just a pretty horrific place versus the city. So you could contact any of those people, or you could just reach out and find a ghost. Yeah, there are ghosts of railjacks out there.
Is it possible that my family might know about it and that I'd be able to open up, or call them? I don't know.
Yeah, so as I understand it, your family are Tycherosi nobles.
Yeah.
So I wonder what connection they are demonic, so they may know some of the demonic entities that would be out there. But I would say in and around the city of Duskwall, they wouldn't necessarily know the layout of the place.
Got you. I think that Murmur will kind of try to the railjacks. I think they'd kind of scope out one of them until finding a proper time to kind of
living or dead
slip in.
Because you can talk to the dead.
Dead, of course.
Excellent. So
Murmur is all about ghosts are better than people.
So describe to me how Murmur looks for a particular ghost.
Yeah. They go and pick up a whole bunch of railway equipment that they can get their hands on.
Excellent.
And make a summon-in circle, and they put each of the pieces on each part of whatever pentagram weird thing they've made, and then they kind of they put they find the person they're trying to summon that's died. They Murmur has found their punch card from when they were working, and puts that in the middle, so it has their name on it, but also because it's punch card.
Perfect. Okay.
And yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like it's time to roll the attune and see how it goes.
I love it.
So the position is risky and
risky.
the effect is standard, but if you push it to desperate, you get XP, and the effect would be great.
Oh.
However, the consequences are mooted accordingly.
Yes.
That's if I push it, right?
That's if you push it. No, you can just push it up. And the other thing you can do is you can push yourself, which gives you a bonus dice. But it costs 2 strikes.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'm making the position desperate. So I'll set it to desperate. I will push myself.
Okay, so bonus dice. So your position is desperate. Your effect is great, and you get 1 bonus dice for pushing yourself.
Okay.
Don't screw this up, or you're going to be.
Oh, no worries. We got this. All right.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
you got it.
5, 6, and 4.
It's really strange. You're used to when you summon ghosts, they're in the pentagram, because it's the whole idea of having the circle as they're contained. And you're sitting there and you're whispering this guy's, and you hear a voice behind you going, "I can't believe it. I've been dead 7 years, and some prick already has me punched in for another shift." And he's looking down at the punch card. Is this some sort of sick joke?
No, I just need some info. And I'll give this back to you, and you can be on your way.
I never want to see that thing again. I fucking died on the job. That's the last thing I touched.
That's why I used it.
What info are you looking for?
Oh,
really,
well.
I'm switching between Northern Irish and
Yeah,
Scottish. Curly.
I'm going out there. I'm going to be out in the Deadlands, and I want to know what's the worst thing that I need to keep a lookout for. And also, what killed you?
A pretty boy like you's going out in the Deathlands. Oh,
Yes, I am.
I might stick around for this. This should be a bit
If you
of fun.
want to, they pull out a bottle. You can come along.
Hold the bottle. I'll
Okay.
I'm quite enjoying my afterlife. One of the perks of being a railjack is you get quite good at speaking to ghosts. So when you're dead, you're still quite good at speaking to ghosts. Well, there's many things out there, but the main thing you're going to watch out for is you're going to want to watch out for the Harvester hags. They're fucking dreadful. That wasn't what did me in. What did me in was a rounded ankle at the wrong time. Simple as that, kid. A small injury out there is a big deal. If you can't keep up, you're chum.
Yeah, sounds like
What are
it.
you doing out there? Are you harvesting? Are you scavenging? Or...
That's for me to know. You don't need to worry about that.
Right, yeah, because I've got lots of people to tell. Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
I mean, I can speak to ghosts. Everyone can speak to ghosts. If they want to, I can ask you and anything. And then before I know it, I'm a ghost.
You're actually a wiser kid than I had you down as. Watch out for the Harvester hags. The main thing is, once you get outside the city, it is still city. It's just destroyed city. But remember, in the Deathlands, you're always on the clock. You're watching for storms. Any sign of a storm, you need to get back into whatever mode of transport you have and come straight back in. Most people die out there to storms. That's what did me. I couldn't crawl fast enough. I knew it was going to happen too, so I bloody shot myself, didn't I? Class act.
Well, if you wish to come along and check this out, you are more than welcome to come.
We through the lightning field?
Yeah.
Then I might just. Getting bloody bored at duskfall. Aye, perfect. See that punch card?
Yeah.
Do us a favor and fucking burn it, and then he disappears. Excellent. So some great information gathered, and now we go to our position, our starting position.
Murmur does then go just take a candle and burn the punch card.
Perfect. Excellent. Very few people keep their packs they make with ghosts. They're like, what are they gonna do? Haunt me? Yes.
And before since I did the push, does that mean I get experience?
No, you get stress.
No, because it was desperate. You get an experience.
Because it was
point.
desperate.
Yeah. So
cool.
Because it was desperate, you tick just the resolve. You tick that once.
Cool.
And you also took 2 stress for pushing yourself.
Yeah.
The fastest way to level up a skill is to push it to desperate. And you can see Aaron has been gaming the system by pushing everything to desperate, which is great because his character is reckless. So he's gaining points for leaning into his trauma, and he's also gaining points for desperate actions. So it's the double whammy. Now, we turn to page 127 of the book. Sorry, it's like Plague Island in our house. We're both quite ill at the moment. I'm so warm right now. And on page 127, we have our planning and engagement beside this very handsome man. So this sounds to me like it's just a simple transport job.
Yep.
So it's carry cargo of people through danger, exactly what you're doing. The detail we need is the route and the means. The route is, we've discovered, is through the lightning gate with the Iron Prison, and the means are we have the call sign and the barge to do it. Excellent. So we now look at our dice for our engagement roll. It's just such an excellent system. So 1 dice for sheer luck, and then is the operation particularly bold or daring? Yes, you've never been to the Deathlands, and you already agreed to it at a reduced rate at one point, and you don't really know who this guy is. So yeah, I'll give you that. Is it contingent on many factors? Not really. You just want to get through the gate. That's the main thing you know so far. Does the plans detail explosive vulnerability of the target? I don't think so. I think we're good on that. Do we have a particular defense or special preparations? There's not anyone particularly going against you in this. Any of your friends and contacts provide aid or insight. We have got, I'm going to give you 2 dice for that because of all the gathering information we did. Any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation. I am going to take a dice away, and we may see why. Are there any other elements you want to consider? Let me say, I'm going to give you a dice for your ghost, which is 4 engagement dice. So who would like to roll our 4 engagement dice? Someone lucky.
All right, I'll do it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
He said lucky, not reckless.
Ooh, look at that, a crit. So yeah, on the day of the heist, Yakov appears to the man, and the man has a bull's skull tied to the top of his head, and his body is painted with these like dusty white handprints. He's virtually naked, and he's got quite kind of dark skin with blotches on these white handprints that when you kind of look through your second sight, remember, you see they're glowing. These are like, handprints, and everyone's like, look, he's a bit of a witch, and we just need him out of the city because he's drawing a lot of heat to our enterprise, and we just want him back with his people because we're kind souls, and he really doesn't like it in the city. And you're looking into the eyes of this, like this hair coming out of absolutely everywhere that this man has available for hair to come out, and he's looking at you with these really open eyes and looking around. And he goes, cut it on scale, did ya? But what us on start. And then you're like, oops, jacked on the nose.
I like you. Come with me. I've got a small murder hole we're going to put you in, and then we're going to cover you up.
So he comes along, and he like, as you're putting him in, he just keeps going. Yeah, into the box he goes, and then after that it goes beautifully well. You see the flotilla of these ships that are leaving, and then all of a sudden, out from under a culvert, your barge emerges perfectly poled expertly by Jackdaw and Slab, and you're all wearing the appropriate hat, which is like, it looks like a deer hunter, but it's blue, and the guards are looking, and they're like, what flag are they flying? There's another ship. And like, oh, it's the right flag. You got the right flag. Yeah, set them through. And even the crew of the ship in front of you that look around and go, oh, it must be hard right today. And you guys get out past the gate, and it's really strange because it's not that the gate opens. It's that as you're coming down the barge, you can see this wall of like electroplasmic lightning, and this device is lowered down into it. It's like a metal kind of pole, and by the guys on the wall above. And it spreads, and all it does is conduct the lightning field out sideways. And while they're doing that, there's 2 spirit warden kind of style dudes. They're not spirit wardens, but the guys clearly in training are down at the dock level, and they've just got 2 pistols, each loaded with electroplasmic ammo. And any ghost that comes near, they just go. It's a really analog system because getting out of this is dangerous. So the boats all go through, and you start moving through what looks like Duskfall, only it's ruined. It's like as if they built the wall during a retreat, because the city is falling apart. It looks like Duskfall, but it's falling in on itself. But also, a lot of the paths and roads and buildings you see don't really make sense. Like, some of them are too many stories high for that to have ever been feasible. And why does the chimney stack go up and then 90 degrees and then up again? And the paths are all winding out into this, and it's really eerie. You've just left one of the most overcrowded cities in the entire world, and the one thing that strikes you as you go out is the silence. As you're poling this barge, and the black sky is above you, and the black canal is below you. You're poling along. You go through these empty, eerie city streets, and then you start hearing from below deck in your little murder hole someone chuckling, laughing. And just as that happens, two ships in front of you, two barges in front of you, the barge full of prisoners, catches fire. It's like a canvas, it's like a multi-tier barge, it's a big thing. The top deck of it erupts into flame, and you can hear your cargo below you kind of giggling away to himself.
Hey, Mama, you think maybe you can block him from doing any more of that crazy hoodoo? We don't need any heat on us for blowing up prison barges. And with that, Jackdaw is going to kind of sail casually, try to make some distance, and start to peel off.
And the barge in front of you is throwing sign at you, big time. They're going, "Hey." This is like, they're in, yeah, no, it's like an emergency protocol. They're like trying to spread the barges out, and that kind of. So they're very clearly being like, go to the side, go to the side.
That's exactly what Jackdaw does. He just turns the wheel. He's like, yeah, all right.
He's just made a lot of ghosts.
Yeah, but at least they're outside of the lightning bear. Who knows? Maybe they're not all dead. We got a job to do.
Iron Hook prisoner ghosts.
Yeah, but they're outside of the Bay Area. I'm sure those spear ones will take care of it. But we're going to go back inside the Bay Area eventually, after we get this job done.
But they're here now.
What?
Ghosts.
It'll be all right, Slab.
Ghosts are here now.
Well, yeah, we're leaving, though. And it takes days for ghosts to pop out of bodies. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it's a longer process than you think. It's like just you've time. It's not an instant. But the barge is sitting and it's kind of like keeling over to the side as it burns. And you realize as you're coming around to the side, there are people on the banks shooting at it.
What are they shooting?
They're shooting the barge that's on fire.
Oh?
Yeah, we definitely
Can we see with what?
They really don't like them.
Yeah. From where you're at, you'll need to roll me something to learn anything about them.
Let me survey them.
Yeah.
And see what I can see.
So it's risky because it's like a combat situation potentially. But other than that, I think your effect is great.
Should I do an arrow and push it to desperate?
For extreme effect.
For extreme effect. Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
You've 2 dice in survey, right? Should be fine.
And I might push myself as well.
For a bonus dice, there we go. So 2 stress.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so while all this bedlam is going on and people like Jackdaw's like, trying to be cool about restarting this, and Murmur is like distracted by the laughing that's going on from below deck, and it's like really hearty laughing. Then
That's like Jabba the Hutt.
Slab is standing like resolute on the deck and can look ahead and sees the strangest thing you've ever seen. It's like they're like really tall goats. They've like a long like mane down their back. And on them, people are sitting on them with these like long rifles, and they're just off anyone that's jumping off the barge. It's about 6 guys on the bank, and then one of them throws another burning thing at the barge, and the 6 of them disappear off into the Deathlands. And they were all virtually naked. They were all wearing very little. And the one thing you notice is they all had handprints on their body.
Looks like our bloke's fella's come to get him.
Well, I don't think that's our problem. Let's get to the rendezvous, drop this nutbag off, go back and get our coin.
Yeah, so Yakov has left you guys incredibly specific instructions. It gives you a point that where you need to dock the barge, and then you need to go out and meet. It's like a service railway and there's a substation there with some rail jacks that'll meet you.
Well, we'll start heading
So-
that way then.
Perfect. So as you pull the barge along, you can see the other barges are like, "Hey, fall back in a formation, fall back. They could be back any minute. Like, come on, come back in a formation."
We just keep, and Jackdaw is trying to judder the barge a little bit, so it looks like maybe we've lost a little bit of control, and waving that we'll be back.
Perfect. So how
Is there
are
any
you
way
going?
we could know the signs for like that they're using?
You could potentially flash back to a time when you learnt the signs. Maybe you did an intensive 3-week learning course 6 years ago of barge sign. Or maybe you as smugglers already know the signs, and if you can justify it to me, I'll let that.
Now, mind you, I think we probably could justify it as bargees, couldn't we?
Yeah,
It's the kind of thing we might pick up.
we
We
could
might
all-
not know much,
yeah.
but we'd know emergency signs.
Yeah, they're throwing the signs for sinking ship, and they're throwing the signs for regather, other route.
I want to throw back the signs for taking on water and
Okay.
stopping for repair.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make a roll for that. I think that's convincing enough. If you're throwing the signs to them of taking them on water,
Just
taking them
really
on water.
basic ones, yeah.
Yeah, and you can see the guy on the other deck, and he's looking through binoculars, and they're all arming up and kind of sitting down in the gun walls. This is standard practice for the Deathlands. It's awful. These guys are paid extra, and they have more holiday hours than anyone else. So you guys can get to the bank of this barge or of this canal, or you could, if you wanted, you could turn off into one of the many kind of smaller subsidiary canals that go down the streets if you wanted to kind of disappear discreetly.
Yeah, I think we would want to pull back and disappear discreetly, just kind of fade from view.
Yeah, so as you pull down this kind of smaller, it's a shallow canal, and you're going to get to the point where the barge bellies out. You're in a row of churches, and they're all at different angles. It's like the street used to have 50 churches on it, but they're all in different states of ruin, different variations of different churches down this particular road, and it's getting thinner and thinner, until eventually the barge is wedging itself between two buildings.
But once we get clear of this area, we can get back on track and get to the rendezvous.
Am I? Is Murmur able to go down and check on our passenger?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Possibly put up some sort of thing to stop them from messing with things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you could go down and see, as your passenger maybe talking to people through the ghost field, or what are they doing?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Sorry, yeah, you could 100% go down and check on the passenger, and you can see that the passenger potentially is talking to people through the ghost field, or maybe this is pre-organized, or maybe it's just a happy accident,
Yeah, for sure. Do I? I go down there.
Yeah, so as you head down into this kind of it's like a cargo hold, and there's a big chest that you've put this guy into. As you open it up, he's just sitting there in the best humor you've ever seen someone in a life-death situation. And as you open the box, he goes,
I give one thumbs up, and then I do be quiet, please.
Misha, Cunis, yeah, Cunis, yeah, Kakar.
I'm like, okay.
Sha, Cunis.
Thank you. Stay safe. And then I leave.
Are you leaving the box open, or are you closing it again?
Closing it. For sure.
Excellent. So you reach a point where either you need to disembark from the barge or go back on yourselves. And you do have a cart with some goats.
How far are we away from the rendezvous?
You could cut a couple hours out by going by barge, or you could go by cart now. You won't be much. You'll be 2 hours later.
I think Jackdaw would reposition the barge, and because he wants the barge as close as possible if we have to withdraw quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So you spend some time getting the barge back out, and you get it as far as you can into an appropriate location.
2 hours by cart is more like 8 hours by crawling with a broken ankle.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys get the barge, and it's well covered over with some sort of netting so that it's hidden away. There are countless positions for you to hide this. And Yakov's instructions say that you should be outside what looks like an old library. You can tell by the books that are stacked outside, and it's really eerie. It's like a broken down building, but there are like hundreds of old tomes just stacked and they're covered in sand. But already in the position you're in, the buildings are becoming more and more sparse, and it's becoming more like a rolling desert out here. There's kind of burnt out trees and things like that, which are bizarre to you because you've never really seen a tree other than the small ones they keep in the radiant energy farms. So it's a really bizarre landscape, and again, it's really quiet. It's disturbingly quiet.
None of us are going to say
loves it though.
None of us are going to say it's quiet.
I'm here to tell you, this is a little unnerving. I find it exciting, but let's turn the crazy man over and get back to the city where things are a little more normal.
So, are you letting him ride the cart with you, or is he going to still be in the box?
No, let him out.
Yeah, we'll let him out.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so he's delighted, and he's up on deck, and he's like, oh, I told you, shot, figure shot. Hag Harvester, he says in this very Americanized, practiced accent.
Do you know what? I'm gonna do a flashback to me learning how to speak Severossi.
Yes. Okay. So, how long ago was this?
I think this is when I was working in the warehouse. One of the other warehouse workers was like a thickly accented Severossi guy who most people couldn't understand, and because they ignored him, and I got ignored for being big and thick.
Okay, to what proficiency do you speak Severossi?
Conversational, but accented. Did you ever watch Eurotrash?
Yes.
Whenever they did the translation, they always put this really thick regional accents on people. So I might speak Severossi, but I'd be speaking Severossi like that, or something that sounds really, really common.
Excellent. Yeah, perfect. Okay, I think given that you're already in the job, maybe you had to spend some late nights and give this, buy this guy some beers and things. I think it's only a 2 stress endeavor flashback, but you're pretty high on the stress.
I am getting pretty high on the stress, but you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, so it's taken you a while to realize that this guy is speaking really bumfuck nowhere Severossi, and he's been speaking mainly colloquialisms. But once he gets out and he starts stretching his legs, and he's like, lads, this is absolutely brilliant. Look around. This is where we met the Hag Harvester. Oh, she split those boys right in half. Jesus, it was a sight to behold. Oh, I tell you now.
Right, Nipper. I think I get what you're saying.
Oh, you're a fellow Severossi, but where are your prints? Where are your prints?
Nah, mate. Old feller teached it me.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
Might talk slow yeah?
Oh, that's not a problem. I talk very fast. I'll make up for the both of us.
Right. Great.
We're meeting with my people, right? That's where we're going next. My people.
Yeah.
The guys on horses.
Goats. Big goats.
Oh, no.
Long goats.
Yeah, horses. Yeah, we're going to meet the lads on horses.
Arses, right. Arses. Yes. And they're not going to shoot us.
Oh, I suspect they will. They'll try to anyway.
All right. Yeah.
Can I see the map? Where are we meeting? Where are we meeting?
Jackdaw, he wants to see the map.
Hey, why not? I mean, he probably knows more about the Deathlands than we do.
Yeah.
So he takes the map and looks and goes, "Oh, you see, we're not heading to where we should be heading to. This is some sort of city bullshit. That's where we're going, but we shouldn't be going there."
What's he saying there, Slab?
He said we have to go somewhere else. Where do you want us to go then, Nepper?
Now, with the right precautions and the right talking and the right hand signals, everyone here will walk away fine.
Right.
I want to go to my folks, not your folks.
Right.
I mean,
I thought we were going to your folks.
Oh no! And he points to like the railway line. He's like, "We don't deal with those folks. Our word for dusk fallers is well, it's the same word for rat. We've one word."
Why, man, send you there with us?
I suspect it's because I gave them all the plague.
You ain't got ill now.
No, I infected them with fungus. They were cooped up for 2 weeks. Nearly killed them.
Right, bad mushroom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they want rid of me probably. I suspect they're handing me over to some other contingent of theirs. But, if you hand me over to my boys, I'll see that good things come your way.
See, man's gonna pay big cash.
Okay, yeah, cash, could you cash? Cash, not really a Severosi concept out here. I could teach you how to punch ghosts.
Slab, what is this fella saying here?
Right, lads. He don't want to go to the train station because that's matey's friends, not his friends. He wants to go somewhere else and not to the train station.
Well, that's a bit of a pickle. So he wants us to double cross this crazy cult of watchers and take him to his people. So what's the score?
He says
What do we
he
get out of
can
this?
do stuff, teach us to punch ghosts.
You know, that
Punch
sounds
a
very
ghost.
interesting. That sounds like a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I would love to punch a ghost, perhaps. However, that's not going to pay our overhead for coming out here and for dealing with the fallout of blowing off this particular gig. So ask him if he can teach us how to punch ghosts and give us 3 of those big giant goats that they were riding on. Because we could turn those into some coin if we can smuggle them back into the city.
They're called arses.
Yeah, okay. I do that crazy talking thing that you're doing with him. See what you can come up with.
My mate here, say, give us 3 arses and teach us punch ghosts, and we do it.
Well, that's a hard bargain. Right. I mean, I'm Fuelan. My name means 2 horses. So, I mean, I have to talk to my mother about that one because, there's a system of barter in place. But I suppose we might be able to negotiate 3 horses, and a couple of lessons in channeling your inner ghosts. How do you feel about tattoos?
We got pretty tough skin.
Shouldn't be a problem. They're right quick. They're right quick. I can do them once we do the handover, and that'll be all you need.
Don't bother me.
Absolutely. Perfect. Beautiful. Perfect. Right. Fuck the railjacks. Onward we go.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't I have... Is my ghost chilling? Or no?
You could attune to see is your ghost around.
Oh no. I will. Yeah. Have the extra eyes on us to help us on this, since we're going to a different place now, right?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So it'd be a tune?
Tune, yeah. Out here,
risky?
it's not a risky roll, it's a desperate roll.
Nice. Okay.
And your effect is just standard with desperate.
Okay. Well, I'll take her. Ooh, 1 in the 3.
Spirit.
That's
Yeah.
You are going to feel that.
You you think you've attuned to your buddy, and you conversationally turn to be like, is this guy for real? And you turn to like 60 people. And they're all standing over you, and their faces are gaunt and betrayed. And I would like you to take level 2 harm, psychic burnout, because all of a sudden you have a choir of 60 people screaming, and you guys just look as Murmur sitting in the cart and goes, "What do you think about?" It just goes over into the side. And it's like I don't know if you've ever like spun while underwater. It's that feeling of water going up your nose and out into your kind of sinuses, but it's like cold. And of course, Foilon starts shitting himself laughing.
Of course,
You forget where you were.
You can try to resist that if you want.
But how does one resist?
So what you do is you choose the skill that you're resisting with. So we'll have a look. I imagine it would be resolve, yeah. And what you do is you just click the resolve action, and it will roll the dice for you. And whatever your result is, we take it away from 6. And if it's 6, you take no stress, and you can reduce it down to level 1. Or if it is, say, 2, you take 4 stress. So whatever it is, we take away from 6.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you roll a 1, you very nearly maxed out your stress.
Yeah.
Trauma time.
I'm taking. I wanna get there with trauma crew. Okay.
Okay. So you take 2 stress. And you can knock that down to a level 1 harm, but it will fill out the level 1. So both actions. So you just have less effect if you do.
Cool.
And
so
it's
basically,
funny.
I put it in the 2 spots. Then essentially, just I burn out.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Perfect. So Foilon is like, we'll be heading this way. It's actually shorter. I'm saving you guys time. That's the problem. We will be passing through a couple of gorges that it would be very clever if you blindfolded yourself.
Well, you're the expert. I mean, in
Fantastic.
for a penny, in for a pound,
Right, I love it. Gentlemen, you're genius, smart, beautiful, handsome, all of you. I love your mask and the bandages, soft bandages. And you, young man, you're terrified me. And he suddenly takes the reins of the goats, and he's like, "Hey, this is the trouble with the Dust Brothers, and there's no appreciation for craft, There's no appreciation for craft. You settle with goats, and you're going to have horses. Why goats? Why goats? Horses are beautiful, beautiful creatures." And he's leading you down this kind of... And he is burning the ear off Slab. Absolutely burning the ear off, telling him everything there is about the Death Lands. See, so obviously, we don't have lightning barriers. We don't have any these things that have to go down. So we just learn to live with them. God, there's a lot of dogs in the Deathlands. So we just learn to live with the ghosts. I mean, most of them can be reasoned to it if you talk to them, or you can just punch them in the fucking throat, and that'll do it too.
You know a lot about ghosts, then, do you, Nipper?
We know so much about ghosts. Yeah, I mean, our entire civilization is separate to yours, and that we just live with them.
Hey, Slab there. One quick thing I was thinking. that might save us some trouble. Talk to this fella here about it. Maybe we take fewer horses, but once he gets back with his people, they go attack and kill those railjacks we were supposed to drop him off with, and then nobody's to say that he didn't show up there. Just a thought.
That's pretty smart.
Maybe you give it. Then we get paid, and we get maybe a horse out of it and some ghost punching.
My friend, he's had an idea, right? He says, instead of the arses, right?
Yeah.
We take you to your folks. We get the punching thing. And then you lot go and shiv up them railjacks.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah, I like that. Only one thing. You come with.
Right. Sounds fair. And then one other thing, right? And you don't have to tell anybody that I said this right out. But you ever need stuff going in to the city or coming out of the city that you fancy, we can help you with that.
Right, yeah, this is your stick, is it? You bring stuff in and out of the city.
Transport's what we do.
No, so would you be interested in twisted palms, or dead man's candles, or we do banishing stones, and we also have we have lightning spears, but I don't know would they be a good idea for Discfall, because from accountants they tend to draw ghosts rather than banish them.
We can sell them for you.
Right, for horses.
Not for arses. We ain't got any arses.
Okay.
But other stuff.
I'll talk to the boys and we'll discuss it, but it will have to involve horses.
Right.
Perfect. So it's like it's quite boring, other than the fact you're just going down this trail. It's hours out of your way, and you can see on the horizon there's like a dust storm raging in one direction. He's like, "Oh, I'm glad we're not those guys. We did those poor prisoners a favor, fucking shooting them in the head." The dust cloud's going a different way, and then he goes, "Right, we're about to head through a gorge, and it's tight. Now, if you don't know the right words, you don't want to see what's in here. So I would recommend you boys bandage up your eyes, if that's all right. It shouldn't take longer than 15 minutes."
All right.
Jackdaw does it. He's like, "Sure, whatever."
Excellent. And he's doing, like, as you're putting them on, he's going, just to see are you flinching, Excellent. Remember you put on the blindfold?
Oh, yeah, after seeing 60 ghosts, yeah, for sure.
And he's like, just, as we go through, don't listen to them. Just block them out. And it's getting really loud, but it's like an opera if what they specialized in was discordant screaming. It's just loud and wrong, and you can feel the cart is turning and weaving, and Foilon is singing, but again it's like this kind of happy-go-lucky, "Hey, fucking get out of me." And it goes on for about 15 minutes as he's bringing you through, and you're so glad your eyes are blindfolded because the noise is driving you all insane. And as you come out of it, all of a sudden it dissipates, and you realize it's like when you turn off the extractor fan for an oven. All of a sudden you realize the noise is there. And he's like, "Well, that went well. Honestly, I thought we'd lose one of you. Right, we're not far from here." And just as he says that, on the crest above you, you see 5 or 6 guys with these long, incredibly long, like Jezzael style rifles. And he's like, "Oh, boys!" And he looks at you, Slav, and he goes, "Yeah. Oh, it would just be easier to shoot them, wouldn't it?"
Think about it, Nipper. You're right here.
Yeah.
You might get hit by a stray bullet.
That is true. And I don't like getting shot. I've been shot a few times. It's never been pleasant.
Trust me, you'll get hit by a stray bullet.
And he's like, oh, right. Oh, one of those kind of deals. Right, gents, fellas. And he's giving them a sign, and they're like, oh, just fucking shoot them. It's no bother. And he's like, no. And they're like, oh! And they all come down. There's like much revelry, and there's a flask passed around, but over to Fuelon. It's this big gourd, and he sucks from. He's like, it's good to be home. And would you like some imbibe?
I'll take some.
Ghost wine. Yeah.
How do you make ghost wine?
It's all in the squeezing.
Yeah.
Grapes die too.
I suppose.
And it's this bizarre experience. It's like a menthol effect. You feel real minty inside, and you hear someone else talking in your head for a split second, but they're talking absolute nonsense. It's like a drunk person that isn't you talking in your head, and then all of a sudden you're sober again, and everyone's really enjoying, like, they're passing this around, and he's like, right, so 2 horses. Once the Railjacks are killed, there was the agreement. The only thing is, the lads aren't really keen on killing the Railjacks. They will assist, but they want you to do it.
Well,
yeah, I'll relay that. Right, they want us to do the killing.
I don't know about y'all. I'm not much of a killer myself, but I think if we don't put some sort of end to this, we may find ourselves in a bit more trouble with those watchers.
Yeah. And them nutters, they're a cult. So Duskfall might be better without them.
Well, there's a lot of crazy cults there, but yeah, I'm there with you. And but yeah, sure. I mean, if that's the way it's got to go, that's the way it's got to go.
It's a test thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it probably is, Slab.
Slab. I mean, you don't have to necessarily kill them. You just have to make sure they die. There's 100 ways to die out here. 1,000 ways.
Ooh, that's the maybe, Mama. Maybe you can call up one of those ghost storms and just, have a wash over them.
You could drag some harvesters in. You bring in ghosts. They'll be harvesters.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I already summoned 60 ghosts a while back. I don't see why not. Storm?
Sounds good.
Let's do
Sounds
it.
good. And anyone who drags themselves out of it, we'll be able to shoot them.
Yeah.
Right. This has been a wonderful, enjoyable time we've all had together. Right. The tattoos. Yeah. Well, I'll teach you a little Severosi secret, is that anyone can punch ghosts. You can make contact with ghosts, no bother. It's not quite hard. You just need to really concentrate on doing it. Ghosts are us, they're from us, they're with us, they're in us. We are all ghosts, piloting meat sacks. And the difficulty is making the meat sack make contact with the ghost. But to pilot the meat sack, you are making contact with the ghost. So what we do is we even the odds. We just put a little bit of juju on you, and then you concentrate as hard as you can. Outside the game, you push yourself. You can make contact with a ghost. It can be positive contact. David here has quite a loving relationship with a ghost. It can be negative contact. Ghost's neck can still be broken. It may not kill them, but it will dispatch them for a while. Who's up first?
Jack Doll's like pulling his shirt up. He's like, "Hey, I've never had a tattoo before, so like, you do your voodoo."
He starts kind of mixing up this concoction out of the things he has upon him, and then he paints his hand, and he just square in the center of your chest. You feel this really brief but intense burning, and all of a sudden you have a white handprint in the center of your chest. He's like, "You'll get a chance to try it. Don't worry." And he goes around to everyone. Where would you like yours, Murder? He says to Slab.
Right. Just put it on his bum or something.
Okay, anywhere in particular? Because you're a noble. You may not want it on your neck and face.
Murmur turns their back to them and says on my back.
Yeah, so you feel that intense burning pain on your back, and then all of a sudden, and he's like, "Oh, interesting. You're someone else in there. Someone else in there." And that's all he says, and then he turns to Slab, and he's like, "Anywhere in particular? You'll have to move the bandages."
Right, so Slab will take off his massive coat and start unwinding some of the bandages. Again, probably around his chest, and you can see that he's got kind of this scaly, slightly greenish skin.
Interesting. I didn't expect that. I may need to lean a bit harder. And he's leaning, and you can see his eyes are like flaring in different colors. They're changing colors as he's doing this, but they're going through white to like red and blue. Like there's like heterochromia going at the same time. And whoa, you're a difficult one to get into. That should do you, gents. Now, there's no... Yeah, for sure. I've never met a Tycherosi before today. I quite like the Tycherosi.
3 of us.
Oh, yeah? You met all 3? Yeah.
You're fierce different looking. This guy looks like a dragon. That guy's got someone living inside him. And you terrify me.
That's what I do.
It's like, right. On to the murder business. And so we're going to do the beautiful thing Blazing in the Dark does, where we fade to black on this, and it cuts to you guys looking down a rise at this little kind of substation. Yeah.
Since I'm pretty positive I know who's in me, can I take them out before we go? Because if it is the Railjacks that we're killing, and I have a Railjack in me, I feel like that's going to be bad.
Try. What a great time to try your new skill of making physical contacts with ghosts.
So it's an. Can you make? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, you could probably argue that this then is a skirmish roll against a ghost, because you can make physical contact with them now. It's not an attune. You know he's in there. You could probably skirmish him out of it.
I mean, I think that's great. I have to push it. Do I?
You have to push yourself to do an action like this, yeah, but you don't get the bonus dice from it.
Understood. It's risky, controlled.
It's risky.
Cool.
I'm gonna say risky, and your effect is standard.
Cool. Okay, and no bonus die, but I put the 2 stress for the push.
I would like to use my foresight ability to assist.
For free, right?
Yep. It costs me no stress, and you get a bonus dice.
You get a bonus die.
So I will pull out a bottle of electroplasm from my coat.
Just gonna bottle this guy.
Just go. Well, it's a topical ointment, isn't it? You can use it as a grenade to chuck at ghosts, but if there's a ghost inside you and you want it to get out, slap a bit of that on you. Ghost ointment.
Great. So
all right, I'll take
dice.
that.
Yeah.
A 5, 6, and a 2.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like you're trying to, at first, like, pull an imaginary mask off, right? So you have a mask on, but you put your hands around the back of it, and you start to pull, and then all of a sudden, it's coming away, but your real mask is staying there. And you can hear someone go, and all of a sudden, that ghost that you were looking for earlier is in front of you and was like, you're making a terrible mistake. You're making an absolute terrible, siding with these fucking savages, and then just crack the ball of electroplasm across them. And it's shivers out. He was 100% gonna rat you out before that.
Yeah. I high five to Slab.
Yeah. Finland's like, see, it works. It bloody works. And it cuts again to you guys. You're standing on this ridge now, looking down. It's like a quiet substation. It's like a concrete kind of block building. There's a small push cart beside it that you can kind of go up and down the rails with. That's what Railjacks do. They repair the rails and maintain the rails and deal with ghosts out in the wild. And there's like 2 guys kind of kicking around outside this substation. They haven't seen you guys yet. You're all lying there, and the boys are lying there with their long rifles. but they're not in any hurry to shoot these guys.
So then, Mama, you gonna call down one of those ghost storms or harvester things here?
I sure am. Okay. I'm planning to do a devil's bargain for this.
Cool.
I believe the Demon Bane charm doesn't take any load, so it's just kind of like a free thing. So if I have that on, and a demon does show up, I'm at least a little bit safe. Not that might happen, but in case it does.
Okay, yeah. What is the devil's bargain you are foreseeing? Have you one in mind? So you're trying to call in a horde of ghosts.
Yeah.
So they'll need some sort of bait to pull them in.
Okay. And
what do you think is a potential devil's bargain?
I think that on the bad side of things, I would think that, it would kind of be like that the storm called would kind of end up being bigger in the sense that it would envelop us as well. On the bad side of things, on the good side of things, I'm not sure what I would use to give. Actually.
Yeah. I'm inclined to overthink it. I think you hit on something there when you said storm. So you're trying to call in a load of ghosts, but I think just the law of energy, it will put you guys immediately on the clock, because what will happen is one of the wasteland storms will start rolling towards you in a big way. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen Mad Max. It's that kind of like dust cloud wall moving towards you.
Don't need to have seen Mad Max, was in one.
Just
Barrel
what a life you've led then. Yeah, I'm sure Aaron has experienced it too. We just get a little bit windy here in Ireland. I lost a hat one time. So my devil's bargain is that turns your way and you're suddenly on the clock to get back to your barge before that plies into you. So that will give you a bonus dice to whatever you're going to do. So explain to me how you're going to pull in as many ghosts as you can. It took very little effort out here.
Yeah. I would say, what does it do here?
What do ghosts like?
Yeah.
You could attune to the ghost field and call them, basically.
Yeah, basically, you could attune to the ghost field and call them, or you could offer yourself as like a potential bait and then deny it at the last second. Or you could kind of command, if you were really pushing yourself, command them at them, if you had the energy to do that.
I have good command. I got the same amount of command as I do at Tone. That'd be cool. I'd love to try that out. I haven't rolled it yet.
You do it as a setup action, which is you attune to the ghost field to get the ghost's attention, and then as your second action, you command them down into this.
Okay, and which one is the devil bargain on?
Let's say
it
the
would be on the
command
second
roll.
one.
The command roll before.
Cool. All right. Awesome. I will do the tune. Put the mask on, and they kind of just like have their arms outstretched, but they're like facing the direction of where we're trying to get the storm to go, as if they're literally like calling a storm. It's currently risky. Could I make it desperate?
You could make it desperate, yeah.
And that's what. Cool. Okay.
It would actually be extreme effect.
Oh, baller! Yeah. Yes. And then since I did the devil's bargain, this one doesn't.
So we start with the attune.
Yeah.
So
this is the attune. Yep. Yeah. Perfect. So I got a 5 and a 3.
Okay, great. And I am going to say it's a desperate roll. You do max out to level 2 harm, which is it's like flash burn. Your fingers burn from the amount of energy you're channeling through them.
Ooh.
So the tips of your fingers are burnt off. Not to the point of
Spirit burn.
but you're going to struggle now with dexterity for the next one. And so all of a sudden you realize you have this pantheon of ghosts swirling in like kind of a cataclysm above you, and they're all like looking for something to eat. And the Severosi are going to sit there unimpressed by this entire thing. They're like, I will punch any of you. And one of the guys has this, like, he's got this lightning spear and he's like cracking it on his knee, and it's like cracking it again. And you can see they're very afraid of this big pole the guy has, but it's up to you now what you do with these ghosts. It's a time to betray Jackdaw for no discernible outcome.
Now is the perfect time to command them to form their storm around the camp.
Perfect.
Is that the...
Yeah, so this is your bonus dice. Again, position desperate, because you suddenly are trying to command 100 plus ghosts, and you get bonus dice, position desperate, but because you're on level 2 harm, you haven't filled it out yet, you've only filled one box, but you have less effect. Your effect is only standard.
Oh, cool, okay.
So but I will use my foresight ability again to give you a dice to offset that one. And
2 bonus dice.
Like a little ghost beacon or some ghost kibble or something that you can throw at the...
You can even have Spirit Bane charms that you guys are all wearing to kind of say that you're less a tempting target than the guys down in the substation.
Yeah. And so the Frostburn, that gave me a -1 die, is that correct?
Not quite. If you fill out both levels, it will give you a -1.
Oh, okay.
It might get worse because you're about to like, huzzah!
Yeah.
Shazam.
All right, cool. So I have the 2 bonus dice, the effect is standard, and all right. Let's see how she goes. I got a 1, a 4, a 4, and a 4.
Oh, okay. Well,
bad.
A 4 is a pass. On a desperate
okay.
It's the worst kind of pass you can get. So you guys watch as Murmur is like he's like huddling up these ghosts and they're getting and he like funnels them down, but you notice that as he funnels them down, he's lifted off his feet and he's catapulted down the dune with them. And it maxes out level 2 harm. And I am going to say it maxes out your stress. You take a trauma from this.
Cool.
And you're absolutely funneled through this this intense electroplasmic energy as these ghosts descend down the hill. And the last thing the Railjacks see is the vengeful of thousands of ghosts as they are just set upon. They're not necessarily killed by it, but the trouble with the Deathlands is where there are ghosts, the Harvesters appear. And already on the horizon, you can see these weird cloaked figures drawing attention.
So since so I was just gonna say, since Murmur is out of it now, Jackdaw would pull his fine shadow cloak down around him, prowl down there so none of the Railjacks see him, and he would pick up Murmur's body and throw it over his shoulder and make his way back up onto the ridgeline.
Excellent. So I think we can expedite things from here because we've done the important part of the heist. You have Murmur is out of the count, and Jackdaw has Murmur tied, and Foilon is like, well, I think we agreed 2 horses, wasn't it?
Aye.
1 for each conscious gentleman. How fortuitous! Fortuitous! I saw that coming. And he's like, if you ever want to take us up on that offer of things in exchange for other things, and he takes your map. And he circles an area. There's an old lookout tower. I like it there.
Cheers, Nipper. Good luck to you.
I don't need looking. Right, boys? And you can tell he's quite high status because a guy has given him his horse. And there's harvesters about. There's lightning to be made. And they start, like, leading their horses towards these beasts that they've been warning you of. And you can already see a dust front is rolling in, and they don't seem to give a shit. And
Echo's got Murmur over the horse, and he is galloping away, looking back. Come on, Slab, we gotta get the hell out of here.
so it's very different to riding a goat, which you all have tried before. It's like a goat on crack; it just goes. So you get to your barge, no problem, and it's actually kind of fortuitous. At the time you get to your barge, the Iron Hook crew are returning, and out of 6 barges that left, 3 are returning, for different reasons, but they seem to be loading with cargo, and just as you spin in, they're doing the signs, and you're let back through the lightning gate, and thinking, why the hell did we ever leave Duskwall? And that ends our heist. I'm looking at the time. We're 2 hours 10 minutes in, so just enough time to do XP, and we'll leave it there if that suits people.
Yep.
Perfect. Yes, please.
One thing that for trauma, I don't know. I put what do I just put 1 tick in it, or do I click one of these things on the right?
It's a good point. So there are all sorts of different descriptions of trauma. So you put 1 tick into your trauma, and your character can take a maximum of 4 traumas before they're broken and useless, and you can't use them in ice anymore. And in fact, after 2 or 3, they become a bit unpredictable. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 8 choices of trauma there, and you get to choose which one is correct for you and what they mean. Now, there are descriptions of them in the book, but also if you say, I would like it that maybe a ghost got lodged in my head, then that's haunted. Or maybe you say, this has made me, just anytime I deal with people, I want to be very aggressive in it. That can be vicious. Or maybe you're you've gone soft. You actually I really feel really bad about killing those 2 guys. It's up to you how you play it.
Yeah.
And you can play traumas as much or as little as you like. So for example, Jackdaw twice in this session pushed something to reckless, to desperate, for no discernible reason other than it just seemed like a bit of fun, so he will get XP for doing that. But it's really up to you how you play it. And what it does is it clears out all your stress, so you don't need to engage your vice in downtime.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's pretty
catharsis.
Cool. I think I'm going to take obsessed, since Murmur's been having a lot of just the last one, they were like, oh, perfect ghost stuff. This time, all kinds of issues. So now they're kind of trying to. I feel like they're I can't mess up again like that.
Excellent. I like that. So we will go to our playbook advancement, and we'll start with Murmur. You rolled several desperate actions this time, and so anytime you rolled one, you ticked in the field that you rolled it in. That's great. And then, did you address a challenge with knowledge or arcane power? You did that more than once, so you can put 2 ticks into your playbook advancement. You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think you did a good job of that as well. I would say, I would argue that you did it quite a lot. So 2 ticks for this. You struggled with issues with your vice or trauma. You didn't have a vice or trauma before this, so no. That's very well played. We will cut across to Slab. Slab gets points for every time you roll a desperate action. Any desperate action, Slab?
I did my desperate studying.
Yes.
Thing.
So you can take that. You addressed the challenge with calculation and conspiracy. You helped out twice with foresight. And also conspiracy, you guys double crossed your the person you were doing. So I'm going to let you take 2 ticks in that into your playbook. You express your beliefs, drives, heritage, and background. Yeah, there was a bit of talk about you being Taikarosi and how all the Taikarosi are different. I'll give you 1 tick for that. You struggle with issues for your vice or trauma. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay, we'll get there. Don't worry. And then we look at Jackdaw. So Jackdaw, definitely you've been ticking your desperate actions as we go along.
Yep.
For the viewers at home, Aaron's sheet is just incredibly filled out with ticks for desperate. You addressed the challenge with stealth or evasion. I don't know that you did stealth or evasion this.
And the only thing that would come close is that we disguised our barge, so that's kind of evasion, but
yeah, I can
not
give you
really.
1 tick. I can give you 1 tick for it, but it's at a push. Expressed beliefs, drives, heritage, and background. And you had that conversation with Petra where you talked about growing up on the streets together.
Yeah.
Potentially 1 tick.
Okay.
Issues from reverse trauma. Yeah, I'll give you a tick for that.
All right.
Because you definitely had some desperate actions. Now, the beauty of, we have some people missing today, so we'll be in downtime at the start of the next session. They can just have a downtime action with you guys because they missed the downtime action at the start, and we'll have a good time. For anyone viewing on YouTube or who has stuck around for the whole stream, thank you so much. The other thing is we do post in the Garblight Discord. I was late this week, but I won't be next week. A little newspaper so you can see what's going on in Duskfall, and you can kind of vote on what the guys might get up to in the following week. Hopefully it's a bit of fun and helps to tie everyone to the universe. Thank you so much for coming. I'll let Ben do all the garblagging now. If that's okay with you.
Well, it's an easy one on Friday because that's the end of the week. Yes, thank you for garblagging with us today. Don't forget to do all the likey, subscribey things. Come over to Discord and hang out with us. Excuse me. Don't forget to subscribe. That didn't come through. If you want to see some of Josh's fabulous artwork, the latest Gartopia magazine has just been released for our patrons. So come and see some pretty pictures and clever writing for that. And then next week, we've got more games happening. Oh yes, in fact next week on Monday is the first City of Mist session. We've got session 0, City of Mist, and I'm running that with a bunch of people from off Garblag and Nye. And then on Tuesday we've got almost definitely probably the last alien session, because if we survive the next session I would be very surprised. Wednesday, Once Upon a Time in the Old World. Thursday might be Pete doing heroic deeds on YouTube, and then in the evening Achtung Cthulhu with the North American contingent, and then we're back for part 3 of Blades in the Dark next Friday. And that's all of the things there. Have your people call our people. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey.
As long as I can get OBS to open so I can close it.
Sorry.